Two government-made killers. Two men shaped into weapons by brutal training and blind patriotism. On one side, you've got Peacemaker, the ruthless, trigger-happy assassin who'll kill anyone, anywhere, if it means peace. On the other hand, John Walker, the disgraced super soldier turned US agent, packing the strength and durability of Captain America with none of the restraint. When these two government dogs are unleashed, who walks away alive? Let's find out. After the final showdown with Thanos, Steve Rogers decided it was time to hang up the shield. Instead of continuing as Captain America, he traveled back to the past to finally live the life he'd always dreamed of. With him gone, the United States was suddenly without its star-spangled symbol. And when Sam Wilson, Steve's hand-picked successor, turned in the shield to the government, they wasted no time in searching for a replacement. Enter John Walker, a decorated veteran, a man who tested off the charts in every physical category, and someone who seemed like the perfect fit to carry the mantle. He stepped into the role of Captain America, but the weight of that title quickly crushed him. After brutally killing a terrorist in front of the world, Walker lost the shield, the rank, and the name. But that wasn't the end. Instead, he carved out his own legacy as US agent. Now here's the thing about John Walker. Even before he ever touched the super soldier serum, he was already basically a super soldier. He had records in every single physical test. He was the first man to ever receive 3 medals of honor, and on top of that, he was already a natural leader, going all the way back to his days as captain of his high school football team. On paper, he was built to be Captain America, and even without the enhancements, he proved he could tangle with flag smashers. But once he injected the serum, Walker turned into something else entirely. He bulldozed through squads of enhanced soldiers, tossed around Taskmaster and Black Widow during the Vault fight, and even took on Falcon and Winter Soldier at the same time. That's not a fight most people walk away from, but Walker held his own, ripping apart Sam's supposedly bulletproof wings and overpowering Bucky long enough to prove he wasn't a man to underestimate. And don't forget, he even managed to hold up an armored vehicle on his own before anyone came to help. Walker's strength is scary, but his toughness might be even more impressive. He's taken beatings from entire groups of super soldiers without breaking stride. He's eaten punches from Bucky's cybernetic arm, an arm that was tearing through steel in the same fight, and kept on going like nothing happened. He survived being ragdolled by the Sentry, and he stood through a full Widow's Bite from Yelena. That same electric charge has stunned Black Panther through vibranium armor, and Walker just gritted his teeth and pushed forward. The guy's a tank. And while he might not have the polished skill set of Steve Rogers or Natasha Romanoff, his raw power more than balances that out. Walker was cutting through super soldiers like Cap, used to slice through Hydra agents. He beat Taskmaster, who's arguably more dangerous than Black Widow, and Yelena, who's proven she can hang with both her sister and Hawkeye. And of course, there's his biggest flex, the 2v1 against Sam and Bucky. Say what you will about Sam not having the serum, or Bucky not being in full Winter Soldier mode, but the fact that Walker went toe-to-toe with both of them is something most street-level fighters in the MCU couldn't even dream of. So yeah, US Agent might not be Captain America, but make no mistake, John Walker is a super soldier built for war. Peacemaker is one of the most violent, most unhinged, yet strangely hilarious anti-heroes in DC. But make no mistake, behind the ridiculous helmet and over-the-top personality is a man trained since birth to be a killer. He's been pushed to peak human strength, stamina, speed, and durability. His build is massive, with what Bloodsport himself called muscles on his muscles. He's strong enough to bury a tomahawk in a man's skull, cut an arm clean off with a sword, and during his fight with Rick Flag, he threw the Colonel across 2 giant grain hoppers like he weighed nothing. He's slammed Judo Master onto cars, broken windows of people's heads, and even tossed Ratcatcher 2 to the ground with one arm. And when he was a kid, he accidentally killed his own brother with a single punch, showing that this raw strength has been with him since day one. On top of that, he's surprisingly agile. He can land on his feet after long jumps, recover balance instantly, fight at high intensity without tiring. His reflexes are razor sharp. He's cut a man's arm off before the guy could even pull a trigger. And durability wise, the guy just doesn't stay down. He's shrugged off car crashes, stab wounds, and brutal beatings. He even survived being shot in the throat by Bloodsport, and then buried under the rubble when Jotunheim collapsed. After a clavicle replacement, he just got right back into the fight. He's been slashed, stabbed, slammed into cars, crushed by his dad in a super suit, and somehow keeps going like none of it happened. Of course, his bread and butter though is marksmanship. Peacemaker is one of the best shots in the DC universe. He can snipe enemies with a blowgun, shoot someone behind his back without looking, and his rivalry with Bloodsport showed off just how absurdly skilled he is. Their bullets literally collided mid-air. He's nailed insane trick shots too, like shooting while upside down, firing between his legs, carving a peace sign into a target with rifle shots. Doesn't matter if it's pistols, rifles, bows, or shotguns, he's mastered them all. He's mowed down entire groups of enemies, shot butterflies through walls, landed headshots from a long range, and even killed his own father with a clean bullet straight between the eyes. But he's not just about guns. Thanks to the brutal training from his dad, Peacemaker is an expert in hand-to-hand combat. He's mastered wrestling, Muay Thai, judo, fencing, and combat shooting. He fought Rick Flag to a standstill. He's clashed with Judo Master multiple times, managed to hold his own with sheer power and persistence. He's just as deadly with blades, axes, knives, and even shields. Amanda Waller summed it up perfectly. For Peacemaker, anything can be a deadly weapon. On top of that, he spent years as a Black Ops assassin, carrying out missions across the globe. He's a born killer, raised from birth to be a human weapon. So when you add it all together, his peak physicals, his insane durability, his flawless accuracy, his brutal hand-to-hand skills, and his assassin background, you realize that Peacemaker isn't just some goofy guy in a shiny helmet. He's proof that a human can be just as dangerous as any metahuman. And the scariest part is that he'll do it all in the name of peace, no matter how many people he has to kill to get it. So, who wins? Well, let's break it down. Now, I think this fight is actually a lot closer than you'd think, considering that it's a super soldier versus just a peak human. But in the same way that Batman is a superhuman but still considered peak human, well, you can basically say the same for Peacemaker. He's got muscles on muscles. It's kinda his whole thing. So don't want to undersell Peacemaker here by any means. That all being said, clearly, US Agent is physically more powerful. Like, let's just take a look at all the feats that US Agent has shown us on his own and exclude other super soldiers for a second. Well, the guy is crazy. I think there's actually a pretty solid argument here that John Walker is physically superior to Steve Rogers, because the super soldier serum amps everything about a person, and John was already starting from a way higher starting point than Steve. I mean, we all remember pre-serum Steve Rogers, too weak and scrawny to even be allowed to enlist in the military. Meanwhile, pre-serum John Walker is said to have tested off the charts in every single physical category, was already peak human enough to fight against super soldiers and hold his own. And then he's strong enough to do stuff like holding onto an armored truck and stopping it from falling. Multi-tons right there. Even him jumping 50 feet up into the air from a standstill, it's like a dang Spider-Man thing. He's ripped apart Falcon's bulletproof wings. He was tough enough to take attacks from the Sentry. Guy was an absolute unit. I also think it's totally fair to throw in feats from other super soldiers, because Walker should definitely be in the same ballpark as all of this. And even if you want to say that Captain America is the exception, well, Winter Soldier is strong enough to flip over armored trucks, casually knock over a van hurtling towards him, is able to battle against Iron Man. Even Red Guardian, who's probably the weakest out of the super soldier bunch, punched down a reinforced steel door with just fine, completely no-sold a massive piece of rubble cracking down right on top of him. Didn't even budge. John Walker should comfortably scale to all of this. So even if we don't include Captain America here, well, US Agent is massively outstatting Peacemaker. Also a really strong argument that US Agent is the better and more skilled fighter out of the two. One, because Peacemaker honestly never showed off the most impressive fighting skill. I mean, to the point where Judo Master was beating up on him. But two, because US Agent is honestly just a skilled fighter. There's absolutely no problem with spamming his strength and power in a fight. Like he fought Falcon and Winter Soldier at the same time, was honestly winning at different points throughout that fight. Two of the best street level heroes in Marvel, by the way. And then he just dominated against Taskmaster, someone who's arguably a better fighter than Black Widow, and that was all because he was just way stronger, had no problem using his strength. The one thing that Peacemaker has going for him though, is helmets. Like sure, Peacemaker has a ton of guns, like a ton of guns, and then other weapons and everything, but US Agent can negate a lot of that with his shield. Because even if the shield he's got now isn't Cap's shield, it's still bulletproof, and it can still block most all of Peacemaker's weapons. It's really his helmets, and each helmet has a different function. Like some let him breathe underwater, or see in X-ray vision, or give everyone within a mile around him scabies. But the two that really matter here are the human torpedo helmet, which would transform Peacemaker into a literal human torpedo, and the sonic boom helmet, which is powerful enough to instantly vaporize any human from range of the blast, flatten cars, pretty much everything around him. And since this is a sonic attack, well, it's going to be really hard, if not impossible, for US Agent to actually block it. He's not even carrying the vibranium shield anymore. Good odds that Walker could just get straight liquefied here. But that's like the only way that Peacemaker has to reliably win. And it's not even something that Peacemaker typically does. Each helmet has just one function, and he usually just wears like a normal helmet. So while the sonic attack could probably allow Peacemaker to beat US Agent, I don't think it would allow him to reliably beat him. He just uses it too inconsistently. And outside of that, well, US Agent holds a whole lot of advantages over Peacemaker here in this fight. He's stronger, he's faster, he's tougher, he's the better fighter, and his shield is going to allow him to block most all of Peacemaker's attacks and weapons. Cool fight, but US Agent is ultimately coming out on top here. US Agent wins.